Hi everyone, my name is Rob and I want to welcome you to another episode of our Avrame home. In today's video, we are talking about framing all of the interior walls. Let's go. Now, one of the features about the Avrame homes that I appreciate the most is that none of the interior walls are load-bearing. And so the greatest benefit of that is you can pretty much put them wherever you want. The only limitation that I can think of is that you want to make sure that all of your utilities are coming through in the spaces where they're actually going to travel through the walls, things like electrical and plumbing. When it came time for me to determine where exactly the walls would land, I referenced the plans that we developed with the designers at Avrame and just tried to, as best as I could, to measure usually off of the knee walls where they came down to where the hallway was, and then just try to calculate the square footage of each room. One thing that I did do was I put down the bottom plates on the ground in all the rooms to make sure that it visually looked like that was the right size, and I put those bottom plates down before I actually assembled anything. Once I had all of those bottom plates just resting on the floor, I brought Katie up to the house to make sure that she also thought that that's where the walls should stay. Once Katie and I were confident that the layout looked as we wanted it to, I then just cut all of the studs to length, put a top and bottom plate on, and then because we are on a concrete slab, I added some sill gaskets to the bottom plate before we finally fastened them all to the walls as well as the floor. We got one wall up, and it feels so good. The actual framing part of walls is just, it's enjoyable. It is. Ran into a few snags right at the beginning, which isn't that surprising, but the height of the floor joist, it varied quite a bit, and I think that had to do with the way that when we first stood them up, when we used that ratchet strap to pull them tight, so we had the equal distance of where the knee walls lined up. I think that some of the joists probably got lifted and lowered a little bit as we did that. So each stud had to be cut at a different length, so rather than building the wall on the ground and standing up, we just framed it in place, which is fine. It actually is going to help us because we made some assumptions about the size of the door opening based on Canadian sizes of casing for when we were framing the doors, and we were wrong. We had planned to have like a 1/2 inch casing around with some room for shims and stuff, so we added 1.5 inches to the width of the door for the opening, but the casing, I can't remember, I think it was we had to add an additional 4 inches, not 1.75 inches, but 4 inches. So all that means is that one stud that we have there for the opening for the door, we're just gonna have to take out the screws and move that over. And so because we were able to stick frame it in place, the screws are accessible, because if we had built this wall lying down, those screws would have been driven up from the bottom, and we would have had to get the Sawzall and cut those off, but now we can just take those screws out, move it over, and just keep going. So there we go. We got one wall up. We're gonna make sure that it is parallel with the knee walls, make sure that it's all squared, level, true, plumb, all that good stuff. And then from there, I think we're gonna build the wall next to the staircase, get that one in place, and when those two are done, I'm just gonna, that's a bedroom, and I might just bring a cot and sleep there tonight. I'm gonna be so excited. To fasten them to the floor, I used a combination of Tapcons, and we actually had a friend help us to do some of the interior work, and he had a pneumatic nailer that would shoot through concrete, and so that was the faster way to attach the bottom plates to the floor. And so yeah, in very short time, we had all of the interior walls framed up. We even added some little features like a little cubby hole between what's going to be the kids' bedrooms, as well as in the upstairs room, we added a closet space that originally wasn't going to be there, but we thought that it made sense to do it then. And so we added a little closet there, and as it stands right now, we are ready for the interior finishings to get started on the house. Well, that does it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I want to encourage you to like and subscribe if you liked this content. And yeah, I'll see you in our next video. We've got lots more to do. See you then.